Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is May 12th, 2017. It is a Friday. Happy Friday. We want to take you to Jakarta, which is in Indonesia, where a Christian governor has been jailed and sentenced for 2 years because of his faith. Correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Stop it.
I love that it's not playing.
Please, no, it was there.
Stop.
And it keeps going to the side. I want it big right here.
Just play it.
Okay.
Okay. He's jailed for blasphemy, by the way. After being guilty of insulting Islam, the ruling is harsher than expected. And his supporters are protesting the 2-year jail sentence. The verdict comes amid concern about the growing influence of Islamist groups. They held mass protests during a tumultuous election campaign that ended with Basuki Tjahaja Purnama losing for another term as governor. They sentenced him because they were pressured by the masses. That is unfair. A hook should have been cleared of the charges. The verdict is a blow to a government that has sought to quell radical groups and soothe investors' concerns that the country's secular values were at risk. Purnama told the court he would appeal the ruling.
Okay, so one of our viewers sent me these links, and thank you very much for that. She also pointed out that Saudi Arabia is causing a tremendous amount of upheaval all over the entire Middle East, pushing their radical Islamic agenda. I mean, Saudi Arabia just got put on the Women's Human Rights Organization at the UN.
Council.
For some reason,
covered that twice,
we give them money and weapons. Saudi Arabia is a very evil country, in my opinion. Listen to this. So prior to Saudi Arabia's attempts to spread Salafism, which is an extreme,
form of Islam
across the Muslim world, Indonesia did not have terrorist organizations
such as Hamas. So
exactly. So today it is rife with all these terror organizations. A mere 3 weeks. Get this. After the Saudi king wrapped up his trip to Indonesia, at least 15,000 hard-line Islamist protesters took to the streets of Jakarta after Friday prayers, calling for the imprisonment of the capital city's Christian governor, who is on trial for blaspheming the Quran. In a separate crisis, crowds were demanding that Purnama, known as Ashok, be jailed for telling a group of fishermen that as they are fed lies about how the Quran forbids Muslims from being governed by a kafir, an infidel, he could understand why some of them might not have voted for him. If convicted, Ashok stands to serve up to 5 years in prison. So he was convicted. He is serving 2 years in prison because he went to some fishermen and said, yes, the Quran, they are fed lies about how the Quran forbids Muslims from being governed by kafir infidels. So, accompanied by a 1,500 strong entourage, the Saudi king
Salman bin Abdul Aziz.
He went to Indonesia March 1st for a 9-day giant tour. He was welcomed warmly, but not only as the monarch of one of the world's richest countries, but as the custodian of Islam's 2 holiest cities, Mecca and Medina. While appearing to be taking a holiday rather than embarking on an official state visit, the 81-year-old sovereign spent 6 days at a resort in Bali. The king had some serious business to attend to, and what was advertised as an effort to promote social interaction between Saudi Arabia and Indonesia, with His Majesty announcing $1 billion aid package. Really, we're going to take over your entire country, right?
We're just going to give you a bunch of money and then we'll take everything.
We probably funded it, the Americans did. Unlimited flights between the 2 countries and the allotment of 50,000 extra spots per year to make the journey to Mecca. All right. Wow. It seems that if the real purpose of the trip was to promote and enhance Salafism, an extremist Sunni strain in the world's largest Muslim country, frequently hailed in the West as an example of a moderate Islamic society. So
in the moderate Islamic society, we have a Christian governor who can be jailed for 2 years just for blaspheming the Quran.
Or saying, hey, I can be your governor. It's okay.
Right.
That's all he did. Right. That's all he was telling some fishermen.
Blaspheming the Quran.
I can be your governor. You can vote for me. Right. And so, Jakarta-based journalist wrote, he said, since 1980, Saudi Arabia has devoted millions of dollars to exporting its strict brand of Islam, Salafism, to historically tolerant and diverse Indonesia.
Right.
It has built more than 150 mosques, albeit in a country that has 800,000, a huge free university in Jakarta, obviously to indoctrinate them, and several Arabic language institutes, supplied more than 100 boarding schools with books and teachers, albeit to a country that has a bunch, brought in preachers and teachers. So they're really trying to take over Indonesia. The Saudi influence has taken a serious toll on Indonesia. 90% of those of whose 250 million people are Sunnis, despite its pluralistic constitution, which says the state guarantees each and every citizen the freedom of religion and of worship and according to his or her own religious belief. Indonesia, which declared independence in 1945, has grown increasingly intolerant towards Christians, Hindus, and Shiite Muslims. Prior to Saudi Arabia's attempts to spread Salafism across the Muslim world, Indonesia did not have terrorist organizations. This is really important. Today, they have a ton, and it's just it's more than unfortunate. I think that as long as the West continues to put their head in the sand, realizing that there are people out there wanting to go in and take over the tolerant.
But you can't talk about
Muslim
it because
countries.
then all of a sudden you're a Muslim hater.
Right, exactly. Tuesday's guilty verdict for Purnama comes amidst concerns of the growing influences of the Islamic groups. President Joko Widodo was an ally of Purnama, an ethnic Chinese Christian who is popularly known as a hook, and the verdict will be a setback for a government that has sought to quell radical groups and soothe investors' concerns. We were talking about that in the video.
That the country's secular values were at risk.
Right. The United Nations Bangkok office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights in a tweet said, "We are concerned by jail sentence for Jakarta governor. We're concerned." And then you have the weeping supporters because people liked him. Shocked and angry supporters, some weeping openly, gathered outside the prison, vowing not to leave until he is released. It boggles my mind that I'm just wondering where all the leftist people are. I'm wondering.
No, they're going to be there to defend. And this is unfortunate, and I know we have a lot of leftist people, but you don't ever want to hear us talk about Islam, but this is happening. This is real, and you guys aren't speaking out about it, and we need you to.
Right.
We need people
everybody
across the
talks
aisle.
about, like, the end of the world is Donald Trump. I mean, they've got signs up.
Where all of your freedoms are going to be lost because of Donald Trump, but guess what? Nobody has lost a single freedom.
They call him a Nazi. They call him a fascist. You guys, this is Nazism,
and this is fascism.
This is totalitarian. You guys, and nobody says anything because it's not in line with, if they say anything against Islam, then they lose their footing.
Right.
And because for some reason there is this weird marriage between Islam and
the leftist agenda.
Leftist liberal agenda.
Yeah.
And
which is so psychotic to me because feminists are supposed to be completely leftist people, but yet Islam is so anti-feminism. It's anti-rights for people. And so this doesn't make any sense why the head can't come out of the sand and people can't just be like, okay, this is one area where I'm going to be with you. That's wrong.
Right. I just shared a video today where on My Stealthy Freedom, which I encourage you all to follow. They they cover women who in Muslim countries
that don't want to have to wear the hijab.
So some woman was hot on a subway, so she unbuttoned her jacket and she was arrested and put in a van. Another woman was in the van because her coat was a little bit too short. And when the police officer said, "Well, why did you unbutton your coat?" she said, "I was hot." And she goes, "Well, you're not allowed to do that." I mean, and they wanted to take their cell phones. I mean, and I don't hear one.
No, but you can't because you're not allowed to talk about it.
It's because they all say it's their culture. Guys, it boils my blood because literally you have these women who pull another woman to the side with a hijab on and says they really like it. It's their culture, and you've got these women all tied up and they can't speak. I always bring out my things, and you've got these women. I can't talk. I can't speak. I can't speak. I can't say anything. And they're not allowed to speak. They're just
Right.
literally muffled, and nobody allows them to say
Okay, but
anything.
I would love it. I would love if we could have several of our Bernie supporters that actually are sane enough to see this, to speak out and leave your support for what we are saying here in the comments, because unfortunately what I'm seeing is every single time we seem to mention Islam, I at the very best, I get Bernie supporters that are like, well, is it true? How do I know that it's true? Do you have any more facts than that to back it up? And yet it's so easy to swallow the lies that we hear from the mainstream media.
Oh my gosh, all your videos are so Islamophobic. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Seriously? Seriously? Are you joking me? You want to talk about Trump being fascist and a Nazi, and this guy, they just jailed him for saying it's okay to vote for a Christian minister in Indonesia, and
He's not a minister, he's a governor.
Yeah, a Christian governor, and you want to say Trump is fascist? Are you joking? Stop the hypocrisy. I can't handle it.
I know that there are sane Bernie supporters out there. You just may not be commenting. There are some of you that are commenting, but the ones that aren't sane are commenting more. So we need the sane ones to be commenting on the Facebook page. We need you sane, our sane Bernie supporters, please come out and leave comments, because we know that you exist. So at that, we need to wrap this up. This is a shame. We're going to try to bring it to you if something awesome happens where he actually gets free.
What would happen if the whole world just said, oh my gosh, this is so bad?
Right. Exactly. It's the truth. It is bad. This is wrong.
Set free tomorrow.
Right. But you can't speak up about it, because then, and people are afraid. They're kind of cowardly. And I get that. You know what I mean? We're going to bring up that Tim Allen thing here in a little bit, right?
Right.
We're gonna bring you a Tim Allen thing where he sits down with Jimmy Kimmel and he says things, and he's like, dude, in Hollywood you just don't say these things. And Tim Allen is not a coward. He just says it, and I'm sitting there watching him like, oh my gosh, if you're in Hollywood, you can't say the things that he is saying, because it's just, even if you believe it, you can't say it. And so a lot of people in Hollywood are just cowards. And a lot of the leftist supporters, unfortunately, even if you know it, you feel like, I can't say it because then I'll just be ousted.
Or you'll be labeled Islamophobic.
Exactly. And there's a big fear there.
And you know what?
We're going to say it regardless of anybody saying we're Islamophobic. We're going to speak the truth. I don't care what label anybody puts on me.
There's a lot of people in Islamic state countries who are Islamophobic too.
Exactly.
They're afraid because actually they're the ones getting put in jail.
Right.
If you have to put on a headscarf because you're afraid that the police will push you in jail, that's called Islamophobia. They're afraid. But it's not a phobia, because a phobia is an unfounded fear, and it's a real fear.
Yeah.
So
exactly. All right, this is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, bringing you the truth every time without pulling punches. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you. God loves you. And God bless.
I was cold all alone. No place for